Hi everyone, I'm Chef Susie with Escoffier Online, and this morning we're going to be exploring rosettes. And when I say rosettes, I'm not talking about icing flowers, I'm talking about very crisp, very thin, very light cookies that are deep fried. So we're just going to be making a simple batter. We're going to deep fry these cookies by dipping them in a special rosette iron. And the rosette has a Scandinavian history. It's also found in Sweden and the Netherlands, and you'll also find this rosette cookie in Turkey as well as Malaysia. And in Malaysia, you'll probably be seeing the cookie made with coconut milk instead of whole milk like we're going to be using today. So let's go ahead and get started on our batter. Super simple, just a few ingredients. It's a real light batter. You're going to love it. I definitely recommend trying these. They hold up great at room temperature. This cookie is typically served in Scandinavia around Christmas time, but really it's great any time of year. And like I said, something that you don't have to refrigerate, so it's going to look great in a bakery case if you have a bakery. It's just also going to look nice at home. You can put them on a plate with powdered sugar or icing, or even in a nice glass jar. So let's go ahead and get started on our batter. But first of all, I've got just some regular vegetable oil on the stove here, and we're going to be warming this to about 375 degrees, and I've got a thermometer in here keeping an eye on it. It's getting kind of almost to the temperature, so I turned it down a bit. So for the mix, we're just going to be mixing this by hand. I've got some whole milk, and we're going to be whisking in just a small amount of sugar. The batter itself with these cookies is not very sweet. You're going to be finishing them with some icing or some powdered sugar. I've got just a little bit of vanilla extract. You can add different extracts if you like to. Okay, so we're just going to be mixing our milk and our eggs. And then we're going to be adding our all-purpose flour, which I sifted earlier. And please let me know if you have any questions on the rosettes. It's super easy. It's a nice, simple batter. You can make this batter ahead of time and refrigerate it overnight. Just let it come up to room temperature before you need it. And just keep an eye on your oil. You don't want it to get too warm. So we're just going to carefully whisk these together. Then I'm just going to add my flour. And I'd really like to know if anyone has made these before. It's a nice little crisp cookie. Like I said, great for the holidays or even any time of year. So you're going to want to make sure that your eggs and your milk are whisked together well. And you're just going to add your flour. Super simple recipe, just a few ingredients. You can make this on your mixer or you can mix it by hand. As you can see, it's very easy to mix by hand. And you can use this batter right away. You don't have to leave it set overnight or even for a few hours. It's ready to go as soon as you're done mixing. And like I said, please let me know if you have any questions. We're going to go ahead and scrape down our bowl a little bit. I've got some flour here. So please try these cookies if you haven't tried them so far. You can buy the rosette irons online. Just Google them. Some stores carry them as well. You can also find them in antique stores too. And it's just metal cookie kind of iron with a handle to it. So we're just going to go ahead and mix this thoroughly, and then we'll be ready to go. And like I said, please let me know if you've made these before. My mom and my grandma both used to make these when we were little. They were pretty popular in our house, so it kind of reminds me of them when I'm making them. Okay, our batter is complete. It's ready to go. And I'm just going to be setting this aside a little bit. Okay, so the rosette iron. This is how it looks. This is just a very typical shape. This one that I have is a version that's screwed on, which I really prefer because you don't have to worry about it falling off. There's different shapes and sizes. You could do snowflakes for Christmas time, super nice. And I've got a star and just kind of a flower one. So let's go ahead and make the flower ones. Okay, so what you're going to want to do, like I said, our oil is at 375, keeping an eye on it. Keep your thermometer in here so it doesn't get too warm or too cool. If it's getting too warm on you, go ahead and turn it down. If it's getting too cool, turn it up. I'm just about at 375. What you're going to want to do first is you're going to want to warm the iron in the oil. Just kind of dip it in here. The first time that you're doing it, of course, is going to take a little bit longer to warm up, but as you're making them, it's going to be warm, so warming it every time won't take quite so long. By warming this and dipping it in the oil, it's going to not only help the batter kind of cling to it, but it's also going to help release it because it's going to be greased as well. So please let me know if you have any questions. These are super easy to make. They're super fun. Once you kind of get the hang of it, once you make a couple, you're going to see that they're real easy. So I also have a tray with some paper towels, which we're just going to be putting these cookies on there when they're finished. So I'm really letting this warm up pretty well. I'm keeping an eye on my oil here, keeping it about 375. Okay, our iron should be plenty warm. So what we're going to do is we're going to want to dab off this oil. If you find that your batter is not sticking to the iron, it could be have a little too much oil on there. So just gently dab it off. Okay, so you're going to be sticking your iron into this batter, not all the way. You don't want it to go up around the sides or the top of the iron because the cookie won't be able to be released in the oil. So it's going to go in the oil for about 2 minutes. I mean, isn't it cute? It comes out of here pretty easily. There we go. So you're just going to use a slotted spoon or some tongs, and you're just going to be frying this until it's a nice golden brown color. I kind of like to submerge it a little bit. And I also like to turn them over. You can use tongs too if you like. You don't want these to get too brown. You want them to be like a nice golden brown color. So, you know, with oil, things like this, definitely take your time. Take as much time as you need. So this cookie is looking perfect. So we're going to be taking it out of the oil. It's a beautiful golden brown color. And I like to put these upside down in case there's any oil on the inside of the cookie, and we're ready to make a few more. So see how easy they are? They're lots of fun. So I'm warming up my iron again. I'm at about 375 with my temperature. It's kind of climbing, so I'm turning this down a little bit. Super easy to make, like grease. You always kind of get a little bit of a mess with it. So our iron's warm. Let's go ahead and pat it off on a paper towel that we have here. Going to go ahead and carefully dip it in our batter, being sure not to go over the top or the sides, because the cookie's going to get a little stuck if you do that, and it won't be able to be released. So iron goes right in here, and the cookie comes off of the iron very easily. There we go. So they're fun to make. They're super easy. They're so beautiful too. And you will be sure to impress your friends and family with these. So like I said, take your time. They also have some different, like I said, shapes and sizes that you can buy. And you can even buy a little attachment that'll make a little basket or a little tart shell. So you'll like these a lot. So please make these. Let me know how you like them. And like I said, they'll look beautiful in any bakery case or just even in a glass jar on your counter, or even on a plate. Yep, just be careful not to let them get too brown. You just want them a nice golden color. So I'm going to go ahead and invert this, and we'll go ahead and make a few more. Make sure everyone's comfortable with this. And I'm not hearing any questions, and I'd love to hear some. Warming up my iron, like I said. And if you can find an iron attachment that's a snowflake, super beautiful for the winter time, in the winter months. So I've got my oil off of here. Like I said, if you find that your batter is sliding off, you definitely have too much oil on there. And just be sure that you're dabbing it off. Okay, then just right into the oil. It's nice, you kind of see them cook before your eyes. Easy to release. Kind of let it cook a little bit and it should come off easily. You can also help it out with a spoon if you need to. This one's kind of not coming off that easily. Let's see if we can help it out with our spoon. Maybe I just didn't have enough oil on here, or maybe my iron wasn't warm enough either. But you can kind of get it off a little bit with your spoon. As long as the batter is not on the top where it's actually cooking and kind of not letting it come off, you can kind of get it off a little bit with the spoon. So I'm thinking maybe it wasn't quite warm enough. So there you go. So that's an idea for you. Oh, nice golden brown color. I'm going to go ahead and turn this over. And we'll go ahead and make one more. And please let me know if you have any questions, or especially if you've ever made the classic rosette before. Okay, let's go ahead and warm this up. Like I said, be really careful with these, with the oil and everything. It's hot. And remember that your iron is hot too. So if it starts to release or untwist off of here, make sure that you grab a towel to turn it or whatever you have to do because it's hot. And it's easy to forget when you're holding the handle. And we have a question. You can make more than one at a time. That was the question. And they also do have a rosette iron that has 2 different prongs on it where you could make 2 at a time. They have several different kinds. I suggest Googling these or check your local kitchen store. Once you get the hang of it, you can kind of get a couple going, like anything that you're frying, like beignets or donuts or anything. Once you become more comfortable, definitely you can make more than one, especially when you're using a handle that has more than one rosette iron on it. So, okay. So please let me know how you're doing with your rosettes and if you tried them. I think that you're really going to love making these if you haven't made them before. And they're just super beautiful, and your friends and family, they're really going to like these a lot. Okay. Like I said, we're going to kind of let it fry a little bit. And turn it over. And you can definitely do a few of these at a time, drop them in. When the other one's releasing, you can have this one floating around. But keep in mind, they really only take about maybe 2 minutes to fry. So if you don't feel like you can keep up with it, definitely just do maybe one at a time. And definitely try the iron that has more than one iron on it, more than one cookie attachment. So let's go ahead and we'll clean up some of our oil. And we'll go ahead and we'll plate a few of these rosettes. So like I said, they look great in jars. They look great in any bakery case. You'll be sure to dazzle your customers with these. Okay, so you can serve these any way that you like. Like I said, they're great at room temperature. I've got just some sliced fruits here and maybe a couple of berries. And it's also a great time of year to find some edible flowers in the produce section of your grocery store. So I've got a few here too. So like I said, I've got some berries. Put a little strawberry on here for color since these are pretty white. Maybe we'll put a few strawberries. And then we'll put a few flowers. I also have a couple of kumquats here, which I saw in the store, so I kind of wanted to bring them along. And the kumquat is just, it's a mini orange. And they look super cute. If you haven't seen them, or if you happen to recognize these in the store, this is what they look like. And they're just really a nice complement to your plate. You can cut them in half, or you can just kind of put them out whole. This is what they look like on the inside. They're super cute. I like the kumquat. You can make a lot of things with this. So please let me know if you have any questions or if you need any help with your rosettes. I've got some edible marigolds here. So like I said, you can start finding a lot of these things in the produce section. You can also find a few pansies too. Oop, that one's kind of falling apart a little bit, but it's going to add a nice purple color. Okay, and then we just have a little few mini flowers. And then we'll go ahead and we will put our rosettes on this plate that we decorated with some fruit for some color. And you're going to love these, and your friends and family will as well, I promise. They're nice and crispy, and they're flaky. Look at, they have a really pretty golden brown color. Typically, you'll powdered sugar these like anything else. You can have a lot of fun with them. You can dip this side in some icing. You can also dip them in chocolate, so be creative with your rosettes. Let me know how you're doing. I'd love to hear what you're doing with them. Let's go ahead and plate these. And they're just super elegant looking cookie. And thank you so much for joining me today. And we'll see you next time. So let me know how you're doing with your rosettes. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.